program features live and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised. Good morning everybody, and welcome to Safari Live.
Ready.
Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Point everyone, my name is James Henry. On camera today, Brian. Storm cloud today, Brian?
Usual morning.
Oh, the morning tie thumb. Good. Well, he's going to need an overcoat. There has been probably some, I'd say about an inch or so of soft soaking rain during the night, so that's very good. That will make all the animals out here happy. The cicadas are calling, the frogs are calling in the distance, so hopefully we'll see some of them during the course of the day. There's a lovely feeling about the morning. We don't know what's happened with the lions. They were calling very vociferously until probably about 10 o'clock last night or so. Then I fell asleep, so I don't know whether they were calling after that. But Taylor's gone round towards Gallagher Pan. We're going to head round towards the dam camera and see what's going on there. We may find those lions. We might also find a leopard. We might find wild dogs. We might just find termites. Termites love the days like this because the ground is soft and the culmination of their existence happens now. The flying alates, the flying termites, start to emerge, and there are one or two actually as I speak now. So that's the story today. We're going to explore in the rain. It's going to be great fun. As I said, my name is James Henry, and if you would like to talk to me or Taylor, who's on the other vehicle, during the course of the morning, please do talk to us on Twitter, #SafariLive, or questions@WildEarthTV if you are on the email. Right, Brian, shall we carry on? Yeah, that's good. Let's do that. We nearly started in the tent this morning, everybody, and for those of you who don't know, the tent is our sort of rain set, if you like. But we decided, well, Brian basically convinced us that A, we didn't want to do 3 hours in the tent, and B, the rain was sufficiently stopped for us to carry on. So here we are, out in the field, thanks to Brian Joubert and his very, very well decked out morning thumb. Very nice. In the final control this morning, Louise Pavid. She is being ably assisted by Kirsten Max-Smith. And still in bed, Stefan Winterboer and Connor Teagues. It is, of course, only 0500 in the morning, which is a very early time, and Byron, of course, is also still in bed. So it is very early in the morning, and it is the best time to be out here. And I'm told that it's 21 degrees Celsius and 69 degrees Fahrenheit. I'd say that's probably fairly accurate, with a bit of chill factor tossed in for the moisture and the wind coming out of the southeast. Now we'll drive very carefully along the road and see if we've got any tracks of lions or leopards. I do find the wild dogs like to move on days like this, so we might be lucky. But apparently one of the packs, in fact this is quite interesting, one of the packs, I don't know if you were on drive with us 2 mornings ago, when there were 2 packs on Torchwood. They had a bit of a scuffle. But one of them moved off down into the Kruger, and it went as far as a place called Afzaal, which is about 25 kilometers, or what is that in miles? Call that about 18 miles or so to the south of Skukuza. Now that is from here about, gosh, I mean that's almost 50 miles from here, and they had moved down there where one of them got quite badly injured and they were darted, and there's been quite a lot of consternation over trying to look after them. Anyway, that is some of the distances that they move. Huge, huge distances. No lion tracks yet. I may have to add an additional jersey to my makeup, Brian. It's quite cold. How many jackets today?
2.
Oh, Brian's only got 2 jackets on, everybody, which for Brian is basically a hot summer's day, isn't it, Brian? Let's have a look there. Now, what we're going to do is just put the camera over there towards the burgeoning mist. No, we're not. No. Okay, we're not going to do that. Let's head across to Taylor and... oh, yes. Let's head across to Taylor and find out what her plans for the morning are.
Good morning again, and welcome to a very damp and insecty, I suppose you could describe it, as this morning sunrise drive will be. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me I've got David. There he is. Now, I'm very excited, of course, because I'd like to see the Nkuhumas. I heard them calling all night long, which was quite nice, and like I said in the pre-show, I know they were being quite sneaky and hiding away from you all yesterday, but hopefully they've decided to come out. It sounded like they were around one of the lodges, perhaps in their favorite drainage line, which is very difficult to try and sort of find them in. However, the reason why I'm actually excited is it seems as though some alates have been released. Now, if you're wondering what alates are, well, for termites, it's the princes and the princesses of the princes and the princesses. Hang on, we've got a vulture over there. Let's have a look at this and just see if it's just roosting. Now, they're quite small. I'll try and catch one for you. I don't think it's going to be particularly difficult. And basically, they've been released from the mounds to go and repopulate. But I don't know if it's termites. It could be ants, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's just the females, just the virgin queens that go around. However, what I know we're going to see, and I'm watching it happen now, with all these beautiful calls that we're hearing, the birds are going to be out having a feeding frenzy. So it's going to be a fantastic birding morning. Look at the little Burchell Starling. Can you see it just there? Now, I'll probably try and go ahead, but there's a couple of them. Looks like a couple of Cape Glossy Starlings too. And they're all flying around, there we go, trying to catch these alates. It's just sitting up there. So you'll see lots of diving and swooping around as they try and find a spot where they have been released, and hopefully we're able to find a spot where they're sort of coming out of the ground. But I will confirm as to which species it is. These birds are actually having a bit of a dispute at the moment. There are lots of these alates flying around. They're quite tiny, so it may be a little bit difficult for you to see. There we go. Did you see one of them flying just behind the bird? They almost look like dragonflies, but very floppy dragonflies. Oh, it caught one! Oh my goodness, fantastic. It was very quick. That Burchell Starling that just flew into the distance actually swooped into the air and grabbed some breakfast. Now, they are very nutritional. They're very high in protein. Isn't that wonderful? Here's another one going to have a go. Oh yes, it caught one too. See, they're not particularly fast flying. These two, you can see it eating. These alates are not very quick now, so they need to really sort of move away. Who have we got here? Is this look at this one right in front of us. It's one of the swallows, the one on this tree here. There we go, with a big white breast. Oh, aren't you beautiful? Now, I wonder if this is perhaps not a violet-backed starling. It doesn't look very violet-coloured right now. Let's have a look, just because of the light. But there's very few birds that have got such a white breast like that, with a colour over the top of their head. And I suspect that in the sun it would shine a lovely purple colour, but we can double check. We can always have a look. Otherwise, it's a bird that I've never seen before. Let me get my nifty app out. See, this morning I've been a little bit reluctant to bring my books out with me. I did bring a couple because of the rain. They're so... Oh, was it also eating one? What have you got there? Sorry, I'm a little bit reluctant to bring my books out just because of the terrible weather that we had earlier. But I did bring a bird book. But let's have a quick look here and just confirm that it was the bird we saw. Let's have a look here. Come and have a look at this. Let's turn my phone. If you have a look there. Now, even in this picture, it's just the way that the screen is angled. You can see how blue it looks. It's not actually blue. Let's see if I change the... No, it's not really doing it too much justice. But it's actually a lovely purple colour. It's purple on my phone. Like I said, I think it's just the reflection. But it's nice to see that the violet-backed starlings, or the old name was the plum-coloured starlings, are back in business and have arrived again. Isn't that quite exciting? So I hope you're prepared today for a morning of birding. I know I am. And hopefully we'll get some lions along the way too. But this is really, really fascinating. And like I said, one thing I'm going going to look out for is I'm going to be scouring the ground and checking to see if I can see where these alates, are coming out of, whether they're ant alates, whether they are termite alates. I'm not certain just yet. We'll need to try and catch one as well. Perhaps I'll have to run around for you at some point and see if I'm as quick as the birds and is able to snatch one up. Although, David, if you open your mouth nice and wide as we drive, I suppose you could catch one in your mouth too. David said he's going to try. He's got his mouth wide open now, trying to get them in. I'll probably do the same, so we'll just drive around like this today. They're very tasty, actually. Like I said, very good in protein. I don't think we'll enjoy them as much as the birds, unfortunately. But some of them, and I don't know if you've ever seen a driver ant before, maybe actually find them in the vehicle. So one morning I'll see if I can pick up a driver ant. Well, I'm not going to eat one of those because I've eaten one in my life, and one is enough, but it tasted very much like peanut butter, sort of a very buttery, it was a strange taste. You're going to have to take my word on this, otherwise you might have to go sort of foraging around your garden or in the woods and look for some termites yourself. Now, there are lots of vultures all perched up in the trees this morning. Look, have a look at this one. They don't look very happy today, of course, because of their very wet feathers. Lots of white-backed vultures. Now, I wonder if they haven't just been following the lions around. And I've said it a couple of times, it is quite typical for them to do this. Because remember, at one point, the lions were hanging around Mamba, Drakensberg, Cheetah Cutline, and we just had hordes of vultures sort of sitting in the trees. I know we did have some carcasses, but they weren't always all feeding on those carcasses at that time. Oh, that's quite typical, especially when you're so successful like the Nkuhumas. It seems as though at this time of the year, if you just follow them around, you're almost guaranteed a meal. So let's continue here. Tracking well, that is going to be a different story today. As well, the water from last night washed away all the lovely footprints in the sand. We had quite a bit of rain. It was a nice gentle soaking rain, which is what we really want. When we have those torrential downpours, you get a lot of erosion, which of course can be sort of quite detrimental to the environment. We see, areas just washing away all the beautiful nutrients, which is not great. So I think we're going to have to drive a little bit in 4x4 here. I don't want to wreck the road. We'll just take it easy. See, the worst thing as well is as we go through these drainages, there's quite a bit of erosion already. But if your wheels spin unnecessarily, you tear up the roads, and then of course when you get another downpour of rain, you cause further erosion. And that's one of the reasons why we do go into low range, where you lock all the wheels. And then you don't need to drive fast, you just sort of take it easy. And I think that's what we're going to do today. No racing around unless those pesky wild dogs come across, wherever they may be. I'm not even sure, I haven't seen the dogs yet. Right, now we can go out of 4x4 for that little incline. Right, I'm going to carry on searching around here and see if I can pick up any sign of those Nkuhumas, but let's go back across to James.
Now, as Taylor was explaining, there are some areas we're not going to be allowed to drive today, and Aubrey's just updated us as to which areas those are, and that's to save the roads. And because if you have a destroyed road, of course you have a sort of vector for soil erosion. So finding the cats today is going to be a little bit difficult if they happen to be on Twin Dams or Mvubu Road, which is where they've been spending most of their time over the last few days. So I don't know if we're going to see them. We might be lucky, we might not, but we do have to look after, of course, the long-term viability of this ecosystem, shall we say. Brian, there's our first mammal.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, an impala. They look very terrified. I think they're just gold. We'll just get into a position where we can deafen them with Jigger's brakes. Go. You can see they are very wet indeed. They're also very pregnant, and they're also very scared.
Some of the Nkuhuma Pride. We're just on central approaching Gari Cutline. It's just myself here. I can't see any males. Just looks like 3
Isn't that nice?
males and the cut.
Looks like Taylor's had some success with the cats, so that's good news.
I'll come down there. I have to go along
They've all stuck their hair out, of course, in an attempt to try and stay warm and stay dry. They'll try and shake the water off their fur. Alrighty, now I'm not entirely sure if Taylor's going to be able to stay with those lions for any length of time because of where they are, so let's head straight across to them and enjoy the playful little Nkuhuma cubs.
Look at all these beautiful footprints on the lovely wet sand. Now these are easy to identify. I suppose they don't need any introduction. And then of course we have got the beautiful creatures that have left the footprints behind. Look at them all chasing and running around. Look at the little cubs getting naughty. We're having a look at us. Well, let's try not stay away from them for too long. Let's go a bit closer. Like James said, if they venture off into any of the drainage lines today, I'm afraid, it seems as though Aubrey seems to think we had anywhere between 50 and 20 mils of rain last night. But because it was so slow and soaking, that's given the ground an opportunity to sort of absorb it and not leave the big puddles on the road. Now, we won't be able to off-road, unfortunately. It's just too much rain and we're going to be tearing up the ground. But hello, lovelies. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can only see 4 lionesses here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I saw 8 cubs. Just going to pull off slightly so we can have a look at them. All playing in the road. Hello, guys. You can see the lionesses are very playful this morning. And it's just the most beautiful sound here, all the birds waking up. Oh, wow. And that's how it's done, little ones. Isn't this incredible? All the lionesses chasing each other. Obviously, they've got a bit of a spring in their step this morning. The cubs are loving it. Though I think the cubs now finally realize how little they still are, especially when you've got a big lioness charging after you and tackling you, then you realize how little you are in the world. Isn't that beautiful? All those birds starting to wake up. It really feels as though the land has finally been rejuvenated. Of course, this is not enough rain to stop the drought that we're having. But we're just getting these constant sort of downpours, which is really helping the grass to keep growing. And that's what we need. We don't need a massive downpour of rain, though that would be nice. But if we could have, like I keep saying, if we could have a little bit of rain once a week or every second week, 10 or 15 mils, 20 mils even better, well, the grass will be back and covering every inch of Djuma and the surrounding areas in no time. Which of course will be very interesting to see how the Nkuhumas respond to this. With the grazing that starts to spread the areas, it means that all the animals are going to start to move out and the big herds are going to break up. And we'll see if they'll still be as successful as they have been over the last few weeks. I'm going to go forward again and just keep up with them. I don't want to put too much distance between us in case we lose them. There we go. Sorry, I'm just turning on the vehicle very quickly. Let's go along the road. Isn't this a wonderful way to start the morning? I absolutely love these lions. Now, where are you taking us to? Please don't go into the drainage lines today. That's also one of the reasons why I want to give them a bit of space. I don't want to sort of suppose, how could you influence them to go somewhere else? It's incredible how we catch these lions in these different moods. One day the lionesses have had enough and don't even want to groom the cubs because they've been such a nuisance the whole day. And then other times, like we're watching this morning, we see them really how playful they are and how they push the little ones around and sort of give it straight back to them. Now, I haven't had a good look at the females yet, so I'm not sure who's here or who's missing. Whether it's Amber Eyes that's not here. Look at that little one going up on the termite mound. Oh, that's going to be very slippery today. Be careful. You are very brave sitting up there. Remember how I've showed you before, I don't know, in case you didn't miss the episode, I went to a termite mound after some rain, and I was just going to show everybody how soft the materials become. So I'm wondering if that little cub is perhaps going to slip off of there, because it becomes like a bit like clay when you add a drop of water. Hello, naughty. Are you the king of the castle? No one's coming to play with you. You're the only one sitting up there. And that was a game that I used to play with my brothers. King of the castle. I'm going to reposition again because I think that one lioness has gone down into the drainage line. Not good for us, but let's see, perhaps they change course again. Now, good morning, William. I know you mentioned that the lions look like they've got full bellies. They do indeed. And there's been so many buffalo that have been around here. I wonder if it wasn't from one of the calves, so from either that buffalo that they killed 2 afternoons ago, sort of in the midday, or if it's the one that they finished off just in the open of the dam. Let's just pull off slightly here. Hello, everyone. And it's beautiful and fresh this morning. It's not cold at all. It's about 59 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a nice temperature to start the day, I think. Just want to very quickly get on the radio. I think someone's trying to get hold of me. Just an update. The Nkuhuma Pride are now at Central Garicutline Junction. It's still just myself here. Copy. I think you must try Fugger Jumbo because if they go into the drainage, I think it's going to be tricky. Just letting Aubrey know that I think he should maybe put his foot right down on that pedal and try and get here as quick as he can. Because like James said, we don't know how long we're going to have these Nkuhumas for. They could be here, but in the next 30 seconds, they could disappear down into a drainage. And we hope that they don't do that, of course. Something has got the lionesses' attention. They're all looking, listening. Now, one of the lionesses actually went off and down into this drainage system, sort of east of the big pans. So I wonder if she perhaps didn't hear something else down there in this drainage line. I mean, there could be a number of animals around. There could be buffalo, there could be kudu, really anything. Wildebeest, zebra. Let's reposition again though. Now, I want to count and see how many cubs we've got here. They've been running around. I haven't really had a good look yet. And Nina, as you've said, you haven't seen the floppy little cub, my favorite little girl. I've got her. There she is, sitting just on the other side of the puddle. But we'll get there. Not that one. Wait, move out of the way. There she is, all curled up. What's wrong with you today? You don't look very happy in your jolly self. Maybe she's a little bit cold. My beautiful girl. Yeah, let's see if someone's going to play with her. No, she doesn't seem to be as playful as what she normally is. Maybe she's a bit tired. Remember, she is one of the teddy bear cubs. Maybe she didn't enjoy the rain so much. There we go. You're going to get some sibling love. Unlike us, we had lovely warm beds to keep ourselves nice and dry. But these lions would have had to have tried to find a big tree or something. Oh no, she's waking up now. There she is. Now she's playing. Whee! Isn't that beautiful? No, there she goes. She's perked up again. Oh, look at the one at the tree. I think she's getting she's got into trouble. Obviously not listening to the instructions that were given. No, just wants to claw the tree. And this lioness is not really allowing for that. No, they're too big to pick up. You can't pick them up anymore. You can see it's funny. I always think those little ones look to be a little bit embarrassed after they get reprimanded or sort of pushed over and told to come and get groomed. And we've got it. I'm going to go forward again though. Seems as though, I think that other lioness has actually come out of the drainage, is one that's just walking out of here. Oh my goodness, look how high they are in the tree. It's like we caught them doing something naughty and now they go, oh my goodness. They really aren't gentle with the cubs anymore. It's like they're teaching them right. This is how you have to behave. You get bowled over and pushed around. I think they're going into the drainage line now, which is not good for us. I'm going to let Aubrey go past very quickly. Aubrey, I think Famba in case they disappear. Okay, we're going to quickly reposition because I think we're going to lose them now. Let's see, yeah, they look like they're going to go down into this drainage line, I'm afraid. Very squeaky brakes. This may be the last sort of look we have for the moment. We'll try and keep sticking with them though. Hopefully they go straight down into the drainage and then we'll get them popping out into this sort of fluffy sand. I'm wondering, the cubs are all playing around. It's sort of very hard to try and keep up with them. Perhaps we should go down here. I think if we wait in this little dip, maybe we'll get them coming through. Stop squeaking, brakes. Very rude. Let's go along to the other side and I think we'll get a gap. Yeah, we go. You can see them all. You can actually pop onto the sandy bank here. There's a lioness coming down, all walking around. Hopefully they'll come straight back towards us. One little cub coming down to have a little investigate. What are you looking for? Looks as though it got something in its mouth that it didn't quite like. And off it goes again to carry on playing with its siblings. Okay, I'm going to go back again because I think, Dave, if we go around, we might see them now in this dip. It's very difficult. We're going to have to do quite a bit of this morning. So tough. There they are. Can you see them coming up onto the other side of the bank? We're just trying to get a view a little bit. Just to try and get the perfect spot. Good. And there they are. And you can see the lovely little drops of water on all the trees surrounding them. Oh, it's so much more impressive, of course, when you see the adults sort of playing with each other, because then you see the sheer force that lions are really capable of. Right, but let's very quickly go across to James, who has got a very wet bird, I'm sure, this morning.
It is a wet bird, everybody. It is a ground scraper thrush, which is not particularly rare. I mean, we do see them pretty often, normally in pairs. And this fellow is probably calling to try and find a mate. But he's got a beautiful call, so I'm just going to shut up for a second. Isn't that nice? It's so pretty, and in the background, a chin spot batis going. Doves. And also some, I think there's a red-eyed dove calling. That's interesting. It's not too common. I'm just going to roll forward, Brian, because I think another one just flew in here. No, it was just a stickler. Let's wait here. And the cuckoo in the background. Boop, 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 boop. I always find that the easiest way to discern the African cuckoo's call from the hoopoe, which is boop, 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 is that it sounds like a hoopoe that has had a very heavy night out, drinking some very strong ale. So it's just kind of slowed up and lowered down. So the hoopoe goes boop, 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 boop. And the cuckoo goes I'm not going to attempt to make the call of the ground scraper thrush. Brian, would you like to give it a go?
No, thank you.
No? Okay. Deep, 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 deep. Such a lovely call. One more, then we'll move. Come on, one more. Very good. That is the ground scraper thrush. Not on the ground, nor scraping at this point. Taylor will try and stay with those lions, but we're going to have very limited off-road ability today, I'm afraid, everyone. Shaluva is on Torchwood, for those of you who know who Shaluva is. One of our leopards from the north that we see, well, seldom, but we do see her sometimes. And this is where we had the reports of wild dogs yesterday, but I'm afraid there were no wild dogs yesterday. Taylor is not with the lions anymore at this stage. They have moved off the road, and I think it's proving quite difficult. If she does find them again, we will head straight back to them, because I think they're being quite playful. But for the moment, let's see what else we can find along here, what discoveries there are as a result of the moisture. The main reason I'm on the southern boundary now, of course, is to check if Karula's come back across, but I don't think she has. Hello, Charlie. You ask a very good question. I'm just trying to stop and get us a view of bird on a wire, everybody. There we are. That, of course, the lilac-breasted roller, enjoying the morning. Charlie, while we look at the lilac-breasted roller, you want to know about the soil here, and you say it seems to you that when you've seen it dry, it's very kind of sandy and grey, and now that it's wet, you're interested in whether or not there's some kind of darker, more sort of organic soil underneath the top layer here. The short answer to that, Charlie, is no, there isn't. This is granitic-derived soil. It's very, very ancient indeed, which means that it has leached most of its organic material over the millions of years that it has remained unchanged in this area. And so it is fairly nutrient poor, and so your assessment of it as being so is pretty accurate, Charlie. There are parts of the Sabi sand that has black cotton soil, which is it's a gabbro-derived soil, which is kind of a metamorphosized form of granite that forms a much more clay-rich soil. But still, the organic material is not very high in it, but it is slightly more fertile, I suppose, than this granitic-based soil. And the granite-based soils make this kind of sandy soil. It's not very fine, so there's not a lot of clay in it. It doesn't maintain a huge number of nutrients, and so the plants here have to be very specially adapted to living here, and it's why agriculture failed horribly in this area. People did try and grow stuff here. They also tried cattle ranching and that sort of thing. None of it worked, and that's on account of the fact that the soil is really pretty ancient and infertile. And even if you grow vegetables out here, so you know that there are a lot of people living on the western boundaries of the Kruger Park, growing vegetables here is A, difficult, and B, the veggies that you do grow in the soil tend to be fairly nutrient deficient. So it's not a particularly fertile area from an agricultural point of view. It is, of course, filled, however, with life, and that life has adapted to living in these conditions. We'll try and find some form of animal life fairly soon. There's some Franklins. Hooray, Shark! You say that the ground scraper thrush was the 100th bird on your list. I'm pretty sure you'll have this bird on your list. Oh no, it's gone. It was an arrow-marked babbler sitting quite nicely. We don't often spend much time looking at them because they tend to fly off. Might be able to hear them. Let's turn off and roll down the hill. Right, Taylor has found the lions again, everyone. Let's go and find out how they're doing.
So we patiently just waited here and sat until they came out again, because they did disappear for a couple of minutes. But patience is the best thing in the bush, of course. Now, they're not too, well, actually quite a distance away from us, and they seem to be up and down quite a bit. So we'll just hang tight here. Like I said, today, because of the rain we've had, there's going to be certain roads we're going to avoid, of course, as well as us not doing any off-roading. Now, this is obviously my personal preference. Typically, we don't off-road even after 10 mils of rain, and I suspect we've had a little bit more than that. And it's just, we don't want to sort of ruin the grass, the potential areas where grass is going to be grown. Because as soon as you sort of go treading over that, well, that's the end of it. And then you create a new road, and we've got to try and rehabilitate the land. So we'll try and avoid doing any of that. We'll just take a little bit of a distance view. I know it's not the greatest, but at least we can still see the fluffy cubs and the big adults. Now, I wonder where the other lioness has gone. I also hadn't had a proper chance yet to look at who's who in the zoo here. And I wonder where Tinyo and Mfumo have disappeared to. Because the last time we saw them, it was just Tinyo with the females, and Mfumo was nowhere to be seen. And it's typical. We see them running around and chasing each other. And then, of course, the little ones settle down after that sort of sugar buzz has finished, and they go and they have a relax and a little siesta. But because it's nice and cool, I suspect that they're going to be up and down for most of the day. Now, Velma from Michigan, you're wondering if I can tell who the cubs belong to. There's still a little bit of a difference. You can see that the two oldest cubs, obviously now it's unfortunately a bit hard to show you exactly what I'm talking about. But the two oldest cubs are almost 6 months. They're probably 6 months now in November. And, well, they're much larger than the others. They also don't have that very sort of fluffy look that the three little teddy bears still have, though they're losing that as the days go on. And then, of course, the three sort of middle children, well, they don't look as fluffy. They're almost starting to look like the two big cubs. It's quite difficult when you see them sort of separated from each other. The three teddy bears are still the easiest to identify. But when you have the oldest cubs on their own, it can be a bit tricky to try and tell who's who in the zoo, because those middle kids they're catching up in size. It's incredible how fast they do grow. Now, I can't see all of them. I can just see a couple of them, of course, but I suspect that they're all in the area somewhere. And this is a really wonderful spot to sit, of course. Sit down in the drainage. You can hear anything that's moving along. And I suspect that that's what they're going to do. Because remember, lions are opportunistic feeders, and they don't know when they're going to get their next meal or have an opportunity to take down their next meal. So even though they're just sitting here grooming themselves, just taking a little bit of a rest, if they hear anything, they will definitely respond to it. I'm trying to catch alates that are flying in the vehicle, but I'm not quite quick enough. But I'll get one. By the end of the day, I'll catch one. They've gone very, very quiet now. One of the lionesses came bolting out. Where are you going? Maybe they're going to start moving again. She's carried on going across the drainage line. Hopefully they'll pop back out onto the road again. Now, if you look very, very carefully, you can see sort of, looks like strange little things flying around, the lions. Those are the alates that I was telling you about. And there's big ones, there's small ones. I've seen there's at least 2 different types. We'll try and catch some. Ha ha, no. Darby, open your mouth. Catch it with your mouth. Trying to get Darby to catch them, but he's not cooperating this morning. No, come closer. I'll get one. No, I'm not quick enough. I'm not like Jackie Chan or anyone like that that's got the biggest and quickest reflexes. They're possibly going to come back towards us. There's a couple of them that are up. Come here. Come here. No. So if you hear crinkling, it's me in my waterproof jacket trying to catch an alate. Okay. No, they're not cooperating. And this is where you just have to be patient, just to wait for them to come out. Now, I've had quite a few of you asking if I'm going to name the little floppy-eared lion. Let's just move forward very quickly. My favorite little girl, and I know that Dale was wondering just that. Floppy ear, I think, is quite fitting. However, my only concern, I'm just going to pull off the road here. Let's see if they're going to come out. I don't think so. Just want Aubrey to get past us. I'll quickly tell you about what I'm going to try and do. So I'm a little bit uncertain because in the southern pride, so this pride that lives down in the south of the Sabi Sand, you can see them moving along there. Now, there's a lion called Mandlev, and she too has a floppy ear. And her name is either floppy ear or Mandlev, which means ear. So I'm a little bit uncertain if I want to take that name. Of course, it's very fitting. But what do you think? Do you think it matters if there's two lions that have sort of the same name? She's a very old girl. She's probably right at the end of her lifespan now. She's about 15 years old or so. So maybe she could be the new Mandlev coming up. But let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Mandlev, floppy ear? I think we need to have a little discussion about this. But James has got something with spots.
Ah, everybody, the morning has turned out wonderful. We came past this area, we saw nothing, we went into the drainage line, and then we heard the call of those guinea fowl. You can hear them, they're very upset, they don't like Karula, or Shongile, or Hosana. Negative, I can't see any lions. Look how across those guinea fowl are. Now look at this, because we can see them standing together. Look at the size of Hosana, that's him in the middle, compared with his little sister and his mum. Isn't this fantastic? Oh wow. And look, he's got stocky, look at the size of his little feet. And the guinea fowl are chasing them down the road, saying, go away, go away, go away. Look. Oh, this is too precious. She's just, you see Karula there calling the cub. I don't know if you noticed that, everyone. But they are all over the place, these guinea fowl. And Karula was just telling Shongile, she called her, leave them alone, let's carry on. And they've got their tails curled up in that kind of surrender. Look at the little male going now. And then he's decided, no, his mother wants him to come along. I wonder if she hasn't killed something else somewhere around here. Now, they are still south of the boundary, I'm afraid, everybody. But they're very slightly to the south, and it looks like they might come north. Just going to reverse slightly. Please come north. Oh wow, this is going to be too special. Look at that, everyone. She's coming closer to us, calling the little cubs. Good morning, Mom. I think in this light, everyone, in this kind of environment, only a leopard looks this beautiful. Its colors really do stand out stunningly. Here comes little Hosana. Guinea fowl are going ballistic. They're going north into Djuma, everybody. This is awesome. Okay, let me turn. I'm also just going to call this in. Stations located Karula and cubs. They are at the junction Gowrie Main and the Mulwati. They're going east at the moment, but seem to be about to turn north. I'm just going to keep our distance. Those two little cubs from very early on have been nervous of moving cars when they've been moving, so we'll just keep our distance. Well, the morning has turned out rather well. I didn't think we were going to see these chaps. Look, 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 look. That was Shongile coming to say hello to Mum. Hosana walking in a very stately fashion to the left. Or was that him? No, that was Hosana, I think. Shongile is off to the left. Aren't they perfect little leopards? They are so cool. That's Hosana on the right, the Majesty in the middle, and Shongas on the left. Right, now James, you say you've seen guinea fowl before and it's helped give you a perspective of the size of the cubs. Yes, I suppose it is a little bit difficult sometimes. I'm going to stop here. She is, so Karula's this probably about, I don't know, 40, 45 kilos or so, which is almost 100 pounds. And she stands at the shoulder, I guess about the height of, sort of ridgeback. If you can imagine a ridgeback dog. Look at the little ones moving now. There's about to be a great attack from the left. There we are. And the Shongile, I would say, is now the size of a... He's almost sort of Labrador sized. And Hosana, at least Hosana's about Labrador sized, and Shongile, who's now at the back there, is, well, substantially smaller. You can see that. Oh, this is so pretty. Look at the little tail going. That's so cool. Well, nobody's coming to the sighting. Anyway, we won't complain about that. What we don't want, of course, is for them to stay on this road, because we're between two areas of the reserve, which means that we can have a great vehicle mass up in seconds. No, don't go south. You've come from the south. There is another vehicle there.
Thanks over and pulling up.
Now, because they've come from the south, I think that they are probably going to go north. Unless they're just moving. I'm sure Karula's killed something though. Look, she's going to be stalked from the right. She's about to be attacked. There we go. What an attack it was. And now she's turning south again. She's looked up at the vultures on the left there, and then she kind of thought better of carrying on that direction. She's probably, much like human beings, I suppose, thinking there might be some kind of kill there. Just, Brian, get onto the cub here. Look at the cub. It's so cool. Yes, Shark, you're absolutely correct. Today is their 9-month birthday. They're 9 months old today. Karula was 12 in March, and these chaps are now 9 months old. And they're going south, which makes me very sad. And it's those vultures that have driven them south here. They've decided that they want to move away because those vultures will attract other predators like lions. Now, whether they might just skirt the vultures, I suppose, and then come north. Okay, let's carry on going so we can get a view. So to the north of us is left. The vultures are over there, and what we hope they're going to do is just go around like that. They're still there, and maybe then head up north. This is Ephraim from Cheetah Plains. Aye, Minjan. Okay. Ephraim says, everyone, that there are tracks coming across here, so he thinks she has killed inside Djuma. Here she goes.
located Shaluva in the drainage line just below.
She's just waiting. Yeah, that's exactly what she was doing. She was just skirting the vultures. Oh, that's fantastic. We'll just give them a little bit of space. And the other little cub will be coming out. This guinea fowl is still shouting. You'd think they would be shouting at anything else. This is maybe a hyena trailing these cubs and their mum. See, she stopped to call Shongile now. Watch her mouth. She's looking. Now you see here we have this great vehicle conflagration. There's one coming from the south. Anyway, let's carry on. I think she's going to go north. Where Shongile is, she's in, I think, to the right-hand side here somewhere. There she is, we can see her now. You can just see her trotting on the right-hand side of your picture. Interesting, I thought she was bolder at the beginning of life, but as he gets a bit bigger, so he's starting to become more and more bold. And this, of course, is where she kept them after they were born for a long time, in the culvert, just to where we are now. She's just going to drink here. I'm just going to move slightly forward. Leopardess is just in the bushes there. She's having a drink. Let me move around the other side there. There she's moving now. I'm going to just get off this road, everyone. The cubs have gone off to the right-hand side there. They're down in there. There. Look. There's little Shongile, at least the Hosana. And they were in that culvert. They lived in that culvert for, I don't know, almost a month, I think. Right, let's see if she hasn't got a kill somewhere close by here. Good, she's going north onto Djuma, which is excellent news. There they go, playing along. The Queen of Djuma has sent through a Twitter a tweet, which is interesting because I don't know how she's managed to use her phone while she's been sort of walking with the cubs. But the Queen of Djuma says she doesn't think that the guinea fowl or that these guys are going to be on the guinea fowl's Christmas card list this year. No, I'm pretty sure they won't. Those guinea fowl were deeply unimpressed. Now, I wonder if she's killed again. I suspect whatever she killed yesterday was probably stolen from her as well. As the big Impala she killed the day before was. Get my head out of the way.
She was from the east. I don't know, I'm out to the side too. Yeah, they're waiting at something because we are, I'm not sure.
Orbs, she's on the fire break, still heading east, parallel with Gary Main. Yeah, I'll keep you posted. I think your best approach at this stage is going to be Cheetah Cutline. I wonder if she hasn't put a kill in Torchwood. That is going to be a little irritating. We're quite close to the eastern boundary now, everybody. There's a little leopard right in front of us there. There we are. It's coming into view, and the other one coming from the right-hand side. Shungile, at least Hosana, is full of joy today. He is leaping around the place. Around about now, I'm starting to look into the trees to see if there aren't perhaps some dangling antelope legs. Go ahead.
James and Matt and I come in there as well.
Yeah, I affirm, Lex. I think best approach at this stage is going to be Cheetah Cutline. I'll keep you posted. There are two Chitwa vehicles kind of in the sighting, but they're quite a long way away in the on Gari Main. We're now moving away from Gari Main.
Okay, copy. Thank you. I'm still a little way away, so if somebody wants
Look
to go
at
ahead
that.
of me, that's
That's
fine,
beautiful.
but I'm heading that way now.
That's Lex just trying to come into the sighting. Just going to move forward. It seems to me like she's left something around here. She's not moving with any purpose anymore. Either that or she's just smelt something. And now she's playing with the cubs. They're down in the drainage now. There they go.
Close to Spaghetti Junction, but it's still
Oh dear, why have you gone there, Karula? That is very inconvenient of her to have done that. We'll try and carry on following. We may have to turn around and go back around.
Aubrey, how many vehicles are there?
There's a very convenient crossing point right here. That's very nice, isn't it, Brian? She knew, of course, that the road wasn't continuing. Ruth, you say, what would happen if they crossed paths with the Nkuhumas? Horrible things would happen, I'm afraid. Very horrible things indeed would happen. The Nkuhumas would almost certainly kill them, exactly as the Styx Pride killed one of Tundi's cubs, I think 2 days ago. So that would be a disaster. They are, at this stage, quite far away from each other, probably about 1.5 miles or so. Isn't this just wonderful? Don't you think their colour is amazing in this light? Oh, look. They are the one animal, I think, that gets away with this poor light. The rest tend to look a little bit drab, and I'm sure if you were to compare the colour of these animals with the... She's got the kill. Where do you see it, Brian? Oh, yes, look, there it is. Okay, I'm just going to have to announce this. I don't think we're going to be able to be here for quite as long as I wanted, because obviously those other two vehicles are well entitled to be here. And so when Aubrey comes, we'll move out. Aubrey and Lex, they have got a small kill. I can't see exactly what it is. Between the fire break and the road, about, I don't know, probably about 250 metres to the west of Cheetah Cutline Junction, Gowrie Main. So best approach is Gowrie Main. I'll move out as soon as one of you gets here.
Copy, thanks, James.
Isn't that fantastic? What is that? It looks like a young kudu. What do you think, Brian? Maybe? You think it's a duiker? Oh dear. Oh. Alright, final control agrees with Brian that it's a young duiker. I'm just going to move around here. It is a duiker. Thank you, everybody. Well done. Not, in fact, a young kudu. She ate a little bit. She killed this thing, ate a little bit, then went back to fetch her cubs. Wowee. What a morning we've had. Oh, there's a millipede there, Brian. You see that? How delicious. Just tilt slightly down. There we go. Wonderful. That's really vile. And Karula at this stage not vaguely interested in eating. And the very sensible daughter has gone straight to where there's meat. The son, filled with his maturing hormones, is pretending to kill the duiker again. As opposed to eating, he's playing with his food, you see. This is just wonderful. He looked up because there was a sort of snapping of branches behind. Oh, this is fantastic. He's so excited. He's so exuberant.
Got a male lion, junction of Rockpole Road and Dollarite. Yeah.
That was Lex saying there's a male lion on Biffle's Hook. I think it's dead, Osana. I don't think there's any further need for you to try and kill it. That is a little gruesome. I'm sorry if this is a little bit gruesome for some of you. Yes, Shamsun, good point. This is, I think, probably also the first time I've ever seen the cubs sharing a kill before. They've certainly eaten separately on the same kill, but this is the first time I've seen them feeding together, although what Hassan is doing can hardly be described as feeding. He's re-killing his prey. I cannot believe how big he's got. Hey, Brian? He's a substantial animal now. Look at the claws. Look at that thing. Ooh, you wouldn't want to be raked by that. Ex-Ranger, I agree completely. A mother like Karula, extremely experienced, knows how to raise a youngster. You say she will not give them pudding if he continues to play with his food. I agree completely, and I've no doubt she's telling him that very thing. He will not be allowed any sour plum fruit, or indeed the offal, from inside the carcass if he continues to play with his food. What a privilege. So we'll just sit here, everybody, until Aubrey arrives, and he'll arrive fairly soon, I imagine, and then we'll move out. Because we've had a wonderful view, and now Mum's getting involved. There she is, giving him a good clean. Very important that she looks after their cleanliness and hygiene. And Hosana has now ruined the fun for everybody by moving the kill around the tree, which means for us, we can go and look. But unfortunately, the people watching on the road from Chitwa not going to be allowed to. Now, he's sitting there and he's actually hissing. He's becoming protective over his kill. Look at her, isn't she wonderful? Being affectionate with her daughter. And of course, it won't be too long, everybody, before before Shongile goes independent. And Jennifer, you say it's very funny to watch them sort of pretend and learn. Jennifer, it is funny and it's interesting, but there's not... what he's doing there is entirely instinctual. It's not a case of her teaching him. And I know that there have been documentaries where it seems as if a leopard is teaching their cubs. I've really yet to see the same amount, anything like the same amount of teaching that goes on with cheetah. They are largely instinctual killers, these leopards. Shongile has now had enough of being cleaned, and she's going to go and sulk because her brother has moved the kill. I'm just going to call Aubrey. Go ahead, Orbs. Orbs, just come along, Gary Main. You'll get us. We're 200 meters from there. As soon as I've got your audio, I'll move out. Yeah, that's the Chitwa guys. Okay, I'm going to move out for you, Orbs. I'll come on to Gary Man. Okay, everybody, I'm afraid that's going to be it for us today. Not obviously for our safari, but for this sighting. So we're going to head out of here, and we'll come back, of course, this afternoon, and hopefully she'll still have this kill, and hopefully it'll be in a tree. Marvellous. Wasn't that fun, Brian?
That was.
Yes. On we go. Gosh, we might actually come back before the end of the drive, because I don't think the view is going to be very good for these chaps for very long. Nkuhuma, itavonana. Qui. Male Cheetah plane. Okay, ntafamba Nkuhuma. Right, we're out of the sighting. Not sure where Aubrey is. He's just up here, I think. Now that fellow said that there was some cheetah on Cheetah Plains, and it might be worth us going there. We'll see. There's Aubrey. And he will see them. I don't think we need to tell him. Orbs, I'm out of that sighting, so go for it. Right. I think let's try and head towards Cheetah Plains once we've had a very nice look at this large herd of Impala and Waterbuck.
Still right close to me, yeah?
Gorgeous. Lovely, lovely call of the crested barbet in the background. Should be sitting on Byron's windowsill, waking him up, of course. Oh, they just love this new grass. And we were chatting yesterday about them being on an ecotone, which is a kind of a region where two vegetation types join, and that's exactly what they're doing here again. They've come off the ridge crest and they're heading down towards the drainage, and so they're on that kind of seep line area where a very specific suite of grasses grows. And that's what they're looking for, far more than they're looking for water to escape from predators in. And while they do certainly do that, sometimes I've never seen them do it. And just about all water sources will have a waterbuck bull that's set up his territory there. The vast majority of them don't spend any time around water. They spend their time in these ecotone regions grazing. That is my waterbuck fact for the week, Brian.
Wonderful.
Yes, I think so. And the Impala, of course, just lurk in the background everywhere. What makes them so successful? The other thing that I did see today, Brian and I were, in fact, there may be two just up ahead. Brian and I were driving around when Taylor found the lions, and we found one Impala ram that was not yet a year old, but he should have been a year old. In other words, he was probably one of those February lambs and has not quite reached a year. So he's what we call in Afrikaans a laat lammetjie, which means a late lamb, basically. And that comes from that second breeding season that the Impala have in September. They're loving, very selectively picking specific grass species. Marvelous. On we go. Morning Glory, you're wondering if the cat sightings can get any better. Well, you say if we add Cheetah to the mix, maybe. Yes. Well, look, we're going to head across to Cheetah Plains. We'll see what we can find there. I suspect that there is a giant amount of activity there right now, so we may or may not be lucky. But yeah, we might be. Let's go and see. I have no communications with them from this distance, though, so I can't tell what's happening. In the meantime, we're now basically going to cross out of the signal area until we get to Cheetah Plains. Let's head across to Taylor and find out what's happening with her.
Not much, unfortunately. A couple of birds here and there. Ones that want to not ones that want to stick around for long enough, and of course lots and lots and lots and lots of Impala. But we're coming up to Buffelshoek Dam now. I want to have a little look and see if there's perhaps anything else around, and wouldn't it be nice to see how much water is now in the dam? We'll be able to find out in just a moment. We're just approaching now. Wow, look how full it is. Let's park at the perfect spot. I'm going to go right to the edge so we get a good view. How's that, David? There we go. Now, I think that this dam looks much more fuller than what it was, especially the way that it goes sort of down and behind us to the right. Now, I know, William, you were wondering exactly that. You were actually commenting today if there is any notice. I think there is. I think the pan at the back will probably try and take another little view. I think that it is also filled up quite nicely. Let's go around, though. Let's see if we can have another little look and look from the other side, and perhaps, well, if Rusty goes into reverse. Let's go see. I think so, though. And like I said, it was such nice rain that we had yesterday. You know, it's one thing having those downpours, but then you just cause so much erosion, whereas these lovely soaking rains, and I hope we have more of it today. Not now. After 8 o'clock it can rain, and then it must stop at 3 o'clock. And then I think that it's definitely much fuller. Let's go up a little bit further ahead so we can sort of compare, but I mean, you can sort of just see now that there's quite a bit more. Let's look here. Here we go. What do you think? I think that they've definitely filled up quite a bit. They started to dry out very, very quickly at one point. Just when we saw those saddle-billed storks, we already noticed, of course, that, well, that the water was starting to dry out. I've just spotted our favorite pair of Egyptian geese. There they are. We can always count on them to be at Buffelshoek Dam, which is quite nice. It looks like they're going to go in for a little wade in the water. Are you going to go for a wade, or are you going to go for a swim? Let's have a look. No, it seems as though Mrs. Egyptian Goose, the one that's is drinking water. Now, typically the male is much bigger than the female. You can see here the male is the one on the left, and quite vocal as well. And quite typical of the Egyptian geese as well. They're very territorial. So you often hear the males sort of, as they go along their day, whether they're feeding or whether they're swimming around, they will make that noise. Just letting everybody know that this area is indeed occupied. And he's staying hot on the heels of his mate. He's not leaving her side at all. But you can clearly see the size difference there. He's much larger than her. And sometimes it's the opposite. I know for African fish eagles, for example, it's actually the female that's bigger than the male. Oh, and look who we've got running along here. Is this a three-banded plover? Can you see it? Oh my goodness, it's so quick. There he is. Hello, we have indeed got a little three-banded plover. Now, they are really tiny little birds. I reckon if you had to take your fist for a fully grown man and you bunch your fist up, that's probably the size of their body and their head, and then you'll just have to add maybe 2 fingers behind, and then you'll get the entire size of that bird. They're little things, but how quick is it going? Now they're looking for little insects that are sort of moving around on the surface of the mud, and even sometimes will peck them straight off the surface of the water. But where's your friend? You don't have a mate? Just seems to be that little one. Off it goes. Isn't that lovely? Lovely birds today. But let's carry on. Now, earlier when we were with the lions, unfortunately they disappeared into the bushes, but perhaps we'll make our way back around that side and see if they've popped out. I'll have a chat on the radio and see if we can't get hold of anyone. But we were having a discussion about what we're going to call, of course, that little one. Now, I'm wondering what everyone's opinion is. It's quite nice to hear what everybody thinks. Remember, I said there's already a floppy ear, a mantlev, down in the south of the southern sector of the San. And I wonder if it's okay. I like the name, and I think it's suited, because that's exactly what she is. She's got a floppy ear to her. So I don't particularly have a problem with it. I quite like it. But we will see. I think we need to just see how she goes. She's looking good though, and she's looking strong. I don't think it seems to be getting too worse just yet. But we'll have a look. We'll have to wait until she dries out, and then we'll have another look at her. But let's see what's up around and down this way. Now it also sounded like what I heard on the radio that one of the Birminghams are in Buffelshoek Hook. I'm not sure which one. They didn't really specify. So I wonder if he's perhaps going to come back, or maybe he was just out doing a territorial patrol, whichever one of the males it was. Right, let's see if there's anyone with the lions still. Is there any mobile with the Nkuhuma Pride? Just confirm where did you leave them, their last position? Copy, thank you. I'd like to move into that area again. There you go. So I think that's what we're going to do, is we're probably going to head back around and see if we can get a view of the Nkuhumas, though it sounds like everybody has actually left them because they seem to have disappeared and we are restricted. Oh, look at this big hippo. You can see him coming out of this mud wallow. Sorry, I apologize, I am parked slightly to the side. We're on one of the fire breaks. Isn't he beautiful? I wonder if this is Henry. Let's see if he's got a scar on his back. I can't see anything just yet. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's somebody else. But he is a beautiful big hippopotamus. Sorry, boy, I didn't mean to disturb you in your little mud jacuzzi. You know that there's a dam full of water behind us with no hippos. I wonder. Probably he doesn't know that just yet. I'm going to give him a bit of space. I think he'll probably go down into the drainage line. Well, hopefully he actually goes back into his mud wallow, and well, then we will go back and we'll go a different way around. But he's giving us the evil stare at the moment. It's okay, mister. Look at your muddy feet. And I love their feet. They're such funny looking things for such a large animal. And they always seem to move so slowly as well when they're walking. We all know that hippos can reach quite a speed. They can run well over 30 kilometers an hour. And if you've seen a hippo charging before, my goodness, it's quite scary. The sound that you hear when they come running towards you, and they also open and close their mouth, which can be quite intimidating. We used to see it a lot in Zambia, when there'd be another male perhaps approaching the water, and then the big territorial bull would come charging out to try and intimidate that youngster. Let's go down a little bit further. I'm hoping that once we go past him, though, he'll just go back into his wallow, so we won't disturb him for too much, but I think we'll have another